All right, conversation theory. Most guys approach conversations with women the way they approach dates. Okay, it's like a microcosm of the way that they normally approach dates. They think that there's a set of rules and a way of doing things that must govern their behavior. They think there's a protocol to the whole thing. Instead of relaxing, making funny comments, and generally acting almost too comfortable, they act stilted, tentative, and almost formal. Raise your hand if you've ever acted almost formal on a date. Most men want a woman to feel some kind of interest or attraction toward them, okay? But they usually wind up doing and saying things that cause the opposite. They want the woman to feel attraction. They do things that cause the opposite. Instead of making conversations interesting, fun, unpredictable, and emotionally interesting, they make conversations boring, predictable, and bland. Never ceases to amaze me how men they accomplish the opposite of what they want by doing the things that they think they're supposed to do. So, normal conversation do's and don'ts. Okay? Number one, don't get too serious too soon. Okay, don't get too serious too soon. A question I get a lot is, well, Dave, how do I talk about serious things? When is it okay to have a serious conversation? And I go, why do you want to have one so bad? What's your deal? You don't not feel understood or something? Like your mom never asked you how you are? Stop it. Okay? Because the underlying belief there is that there's a point when you have to get into it. It's like, well, you're not saying don't do it, are you? Well, I mean, you have to. Okay, well, don't do it. Don't get too serious too soon. Wait until you've gone on a few dates before you really let things get too heavy. That's a good rule of thumb. Focus the conversation on fun instead of an objective. Okay, so focus the conversation on having fun instead of achieving an objective. Be in the moment, enjoying yourself, enjoying the play. Don't worry about finding commonality, common goals, etc. There's an interesting word in the language. It's called rapport. Okay? R-A-P-P-O-R-T. Rapport. And here's a book called The Magic of Rapport. The Magic of Rapport. By Jerry Richardson. Okay, Magic of Rapport by Jerry Richardson. Don't make me kick your ass again, Beavis. Okay, The Magic of Rapport by Jerry Richardson. And I think it's a great book to read. Okay, it's very valuable. I've learned a ton of great stuff from that book. I mean, you can see in my traditional style, I got all my little markers in there. I got a lot of them. And I think that a lot of people really naturally feel like they want to be in rapport with another. They want to feel that connection, that like surface connection. Like, oh yeah, we're on the same page, everything's going good. And most men are afraid to not have that. And their fear of not having that prevents them from actually getting it. Okay, so they'll never do anything outside the norm. They won't step out of the box. They won't do anything risky. They won't ride on the edge. What's fascinating is that when you don't worry about this stuff, when you don't worry about commonality or common goals or being on the same page, that it frees your mind, okay? You can do things like bust on her, throw in something completely out of the blue, or push her. And what's interesting about it, of course, is that stuff is implying that you have a bond that cannot be broken. Okay, it's implying that you have a connection at such a deep level that there's nothing you could do to destroy it. Now, I actually go further, and we might talk about this a little bit later, but I actually say, all right, I know that she loves me right from the beginning. I'm going to do something to see if I can get her to get mad at me. Okay? I'm going to see if I can tease her enough so she actually gets mad at me. Now, I don't do it in a mean-spirited way, of course. Okay? I'm having fun the whole time. And remember, logic is the enemy. Logic is the enemy. I have seen the enemy, and he is logic. 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 You saw my friend, or you probably heard my friend Tyler in an interview that I did with him in my Interviews with Dating Gurus program. He talked at the Meeting Women in Bars and Clubs program and Mastery and a bunch of others. He calls these death topics. Logic, death topics. Death, the death of the attraction, the death of the energy. Do not be fooled or tricked into thinking that just because you have something in common or you're talking about some common thing you have that it's going anywhere.